What's up, guys? My name is Void, and today I'm going to be covering the mysterious disappearance of Flight 19. I am reading this off of history.com because I found it and it's very cohesive. Let's get into it. I'm so happy I have to record this again. Okay, it began as nothing more than a routine training flight. At 2:10 p.m. on December 5th of 1945, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers took off from a naval air station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale. That's interesting. The planes collectively known as Flight 19 were scheduled to tackle a 3-hour exercise known as Navigation Problem Number 1. Sorry, I gotta adjust my mic. Yeah? I love it when the mic starts glitching out. That's so much fun to see. Okay. I'm getting so distracted. This is fantastic. Their triangular flight pattern called for them to head east from the Florida coast to conduct bombing runs at a place called Hens and Chickens Shoals. They would then turn north and proceed over the Grand Bahama Island before changing course a third time and flying southwest back to base. Okay, triangular, not too bad. Save for one plane that only carried 2 men, each of the Avengers was crewed by 3 Navy men or Marines, most of whom had logged around 300 hours in the air. Okay, that is some significant time. That is, like, significant flight time. Like, they ain't no rookies. The flight's leader was Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor. Welcome back, the Magical Potato. I have not heard from you in a while. Welcome back, welcome back. This should get interesting. Alright. Let's continue. The flight's leader was Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, an experienced pilot and veteran of several combat missions in World War II's Pacific Theater. That's a good question, because I haven't gone through flight training personally, but I also know that, like, you could have varying lengths of flight depending on, like, what you're doing. So, I know here on my campus, like, the pro flight students, when they are doing their flight training, they'll fly around for probably about 2 hours at a time just doing, like, touch and goes in practice, but it could also be like, oh, you just get 30 minutes in the air, or you get an hour in the air. So I feel like it varies, and also the Navy does it a weird way too. But just know, like, 300 hours ain't no rookie, especially with, like, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor. Like, it says he served in several combat missions in World War II's Pacific Theater. So, like, these ain't no rookies. This isn't their first time. This is not their first time in the air. Alright, let's continue. At first, Flight 19's hop proceeded just as smoothly as the previous 18 that day. 18? Good lord. Taylor and his pilots buzzed over Hens and Chickens Shoals at around 2:30 p.m. and dropped their practice bombs without incident. So far, so good. But shortly after the patrol turned north for the second leg of its journey, something very strange happened. For reasons that are still unclear, Taylor became convinced that his Avenger's compass was malfunctioning and that his planes had been flying in the wrong direction. Okay, that's kind of odd, because it's like, why all of a sudden is he like, oh wow, it's wrong. This compass is wrong, like, it's been malfunctioning. Why all of a sudden that change? I know it says the reasons are still unclear, but, like, I wish I could like see what was going on in this guy's head. That would make a lot of things so much easier if people could understand what was going, like, if people could mind read. That would be cool. Let's continue. The troubles only mounted after a front blew in and brought rain, gusting winds, and heavy cloud cover. Flight 19 became hopelessly disoriented. I don't know where we are, one of the pilots said over the radio. We must have got lost after that last turn. Yeah, that's probably no bueno. Flying in storms is probably no bueno. I've seen enough Star Wars to know it's a problem. Oh my goodness gracious. Lieutenant Robert F. Cox, another Navy flight instructor who was flying near the Florida coast, was the first to overhear the patrol's radio communications. He immediately informed the air station of the situation and contacted the Avengers to ask if they needed assistance. Also, okay, I'm just gonna say, they're called the Avengers. Like, I can't ignore that anymore. That's so funny. That's great. That's amazing. There are so many puns that the military uses. I don't know how to feel about it, but this is funny. Okay, so Lieutenant Cox contacted the Avengers to ask if they needed any assistance. "Both my compasses are out and I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida," Taylor said, his voice sounding anxious. "I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down." Taylor's claim didn't seem to make sense. He'd made his scheduled pass over Hens and Chicken Shoals in the Bahamas less than an hour earlier, but he now believed his planes had somehow drifted hundreds of miles off course and ended up in the Florida Keys. That's a very interesting thing. Like, that's a very interesting thing to say, oh, I'm somehow, like, hundreds of miles where I'm supposed to be. There's a lot of, like, weird instances like this with planes, from what I'm noticing. Because, like, you had the whole thing with, like, Amelia Earhart. There's so many things with, like, the Bermuda Triangle. Now, like, we understand that the Bermuda Triangle has, you know, like, natural things that are just weird and mess with our equipment. Like, we understand that. But it's weird how many things that happen in planes. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay. The 27-year-old had just transferred to Fort Lauderdale from Miami, and many have since speculated that he may have confused some of the islands of the Bahamas for the Keys. That would make more sense. That would make a lot more sense. Under normal circumstances, pilots lost in the Atlantic were supposed to point their planes towards the setting sun and fly west towards the mainland, but Taylor had become convinced that he might be over the Gulf of Mexico. So far, so good. Never. My sense of humor is terrible. Hoping to locate the Florida Peninsula, he made a fateful decision to steer Flight 19 northeast, a course that would only take them even farther out to sea. I don't know, this kind of seems like a skewed... Like, even if he did think he was in the Gulf, that kind of seems like a skewed decision. I don't know. This is all, like, kind of weird. Some of his pilots seem to have recognized that he was making a mistake. One man gripped over the radio. "If we would just fly west, we would get home." So yeah, it seems like other people knew what was going on, and, like, this guy just got confused, disoriented, something. Taylor was eventually persuaded to turn around and head west, but shortly after 6 p.m. he seems to have canceled the order and once again changed direction. That's odd. That's very odd. I might have been reading, or I might have been listening to a little bit too much of the Magnus Archive recently, but it's almost like something is telling him to go east. It's almost like something is messing with his mind. I have absolutely been listening to too much of the Magnus Archive. Just saying. His pilots probably argued against the decision. Oh wait, hold on, sorry, I skipped a line. I skipped a whole line. We didn't go far enough east, he said, still worried that he might be in the Gulf. "We may as well just turn around and go east again." His pilots probably argued against the decision. Some investigators even believe that one plane broke off and flew in a different direction, but most followed their commander's lead. Yeah, that's my thing. In this kind of situation, like, when you know the commander is, like, wrong, if someone broke off and flew in a different direction, good on them. They probably did the right thing. I'll be completely real. Once a Florida man, always a Florida man. Yep. Yep. You can never leave. It's like limbo. It's like the wormhole thing where it's like you walk to the edge of it and then you just get teleported back in. Even though... That would be something, wouldn't it? That would be something. Okay, let's see. Yeah, broke off and flew in a different direction, but most followed the commander's lead. Flight 19's radio transmission soon became increasingly faint as it meandered out to sea. I feel like someone should have definitely been like, hey, you're getting farther away. Did they not have these guys on, like, radar? Because I feel like they should have had these guys on radar or some kind of tracking or something to know where they are. Though this whole thing is just weird. This whole thing is very sketch. I'm picking up really sketch vibes. My woman's been telling me lies. Oh, okay, no, reference went too far. When fuel began to run low, Taylor was heard prepping his men for a potential crash landing in the ocean. All planes close up tight, he said. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we'll all go down together. I mean, at least, they did the thing, and they stuck together. They didn't do the horror movie dum-dum and split up and think that was a good idea. Granted, I also recognize it's different in planes. Anyway, a few minutes later, the Avengers' last radio communications were replaced by an eerie buzz of static. It's always the static, isn't it? It's always the static. Okay, so this is kind of the aftermath of the planes going down. The Navy immediately scrambled search planes to hunt for the missing patrol. Around 7:30 p.m., a pair of PBM Mariner flying boats took off from an air station north of Fort Lauderdale. Just 20 minutes later, however, one of them seemed to follow Flight 19's lead by suddenly vanishing off radar. Hold up. They were on radar, and then they just mysteriously disappeared off it. How does that even happen? How could that possibly happen? Whatever. The remains of the Mariner and its 13 crewmen were never recovered, but it's commonly believed that the seaplane exploded shortly after takeoff. Huh? Since the Avengers went missing, it is safe to say this is all Thanos' fault. You right. You know what? That's 100% correct. That's what happened. Thanos just snapped. He snapped again. It was just that. He was just targeting those guys because he was like, how dare you name yourselves after the Avengers. Takes a sip of Coca-Cola. I should get a sponsorship from Coca-Cola because I drink a lot of it. Sponsor me. Am I already making those jokes? Am I already making sponsorship jokes? Oh, dear God. Okay, let's see. Where was I? The remains of the Mariner and its 13 crew were never recovered, but it's commonly believed that the seaplane exploded shortly after takeoff. I feel like planes don't just explode after takeoff. I feel like that's not a thing that happens. Flying boats were notoriously accident-prone and were even nicknamed flying gas tanks for their propensity for catching fire. What in the cinnamon toast? What were the engineers doing where that was like this prone to accident that they got nicknamed flying gas tanks? How badly did the engineers screw up? What did they do? What could they possibly have done to make it that bad? Well, it's the military. Suspicions composure. Suspicions that the seaplane may have gone up in flames were all but confirmed by a passing merchant ship, which spotted a fireball and found evidence of an oil slick in the ocean. So, okay, if the merchant ship low-key saw that, did they not investigate it? Did they not say, that's a little sus. I'm picking up some real sketch vibes. We should check that. How was the debris never recovered? If a merchant ship, like, literally spotted a fireball, you think they'd be like, we should probably check that out. Anyway. At first light the next day, the Navy dispatched more than 300 boats and an aircraft to look for Flight 19 and the missing Mariner. At least they were looking for it. The search party spent 5 days combing through more than 300,000 square miles of territory to no avail. They all just vanished. said Navy Lieutenant David. Oh, Navy Lieutenant David White. That was a lot of words. That was a lot of namey words. We had hundreds of planes out looking, and we searched over land and water for days, and no one ever found the bodies or any debris. A Navy Board of Investigation was also left scratching its head. While it argued that Taylor might have confused the Bahamas for the Florida Keys after his compass malfunctioned, it could find no clear explanation for why Flight 19 had become so disoriented. Its members eventually attributed to the loss... oh my goodness, let me try that again. Its members eventually attributed the loss to cause or reasons unknown. How much of this do I have left? Okay, not too much. Okay, I got three more paragraphs. Okay. The strange events of December 5th, 1945 have since become fodder for all manner of wild theories and speculation, as such things do. You don't just have especially a military plane, you don't just have like a plane disappear and be like, oh, okay. Well, that happened. Cool, that sucks. But that happened. Alright. All of these things, especially with like the weird manner of the guy got so disoriented. What was his name? Taylor? Taylor got so disoriented. And like the compass malfunctioned, which really shouldn't have happened. He got super disoriented. Like, no one thought to correct the guy. Somehow they vanished off the radar just by like what this said later on. There's so many weird things playing into this. Like, of course it has speculation and theories around it. I've been reading too much, or I've been listening to too much of the Magnus archives, and I'm already, like, speculating, like, ooh, what if it was some spoopy ghost thing that, like, lured the guy into the ocean? What if it was the Vast? That's a direct reference. If you haven't listened to the Magnus archive, you should. It's cool. Alright, let's continue. In the 1960s and 70s, pulp magazine and writers such as Vincent Gaddis and Charles Berlitz helped popularize the idea that Flight 19 had been gobbled up by the Bermuda Triangle. Oh, it always circles back to the Bermuda Triangle. It always circles back to that. A section of the Atlantic supposedly known for its high volume of freak disappearances and mechanical failures. Granted, the Bermuda Triangle, we do now know that it has, like, things that just kind of... It just has certain properties of it where it's, like, more prone... From what I've heard, it has, like, weird magnetic things there, so compasses kind of go a little fucky-wucky, and, it's more prone to natural disasters and things like that, so it kind of makes sense that things go disappearing there. I'm not sure if I'm, like, wording this correctly, but, like, there are a lot of natural things that contribute to the weird things that happen in the Bermuda Triangle. I've been reading too much and now I can't talk. These names are hard. These names are difficult. Other books and fictional portrayals have suggested that magnetic anomalies, parallel dimensions, and alien abductions might have played a role in the tragedy. I was literally thinking magnetic anomaly and possibly parallel dimension. Why did this have to call me out like that? This did not have to call me out like that. In 1977, the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind famously depicts Flight 19 as having been whisked away by flying saucers and later deposited in the deserts of Mexico. Huh? How did they get Mexico out of this? What? It was never found. Why Mexico? Alright, whatever. I'm not going to read too deep into the plot of a movie that I haven't even seen. Coca-Cola, sponsor me. If the Lost Patrol didn't fall victim to the supernatural, there's no denying that its disappearance was accompanied by many oddities and unanswered questions. That's what I'm saying. Perhaps the strangest of all concerns, Lieutenant Taylor. The corn cult. It was all the corn cult. You're right, Dr. Florida Man, it was all the corn cult. It's the only logical explanation. It could only have been that. We had to have a sacrifice for the corn guardian. Imagine that. That would be really funny, though. We just, like, sacrifice random ship voyages and planes to the Corn Guardian. It's how we protect Ohio. Oh my god. I take jokes and run with them way too far. That's just first and foremost. Yes, you give me an inch and I will take like 3 miles. Witnesses later claimed that he arrived to Flight 19's pre-exercise briefing several minutes late and requested to be excused from leading the mission. What? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna read that again. Witnesses later claimed that he arrived to Flight 19's pre-exercise briefing several minutes late, which you do not do in the military, and requested to be excused from leading the mission. Quote, "I just don't want to take this one out," end quote. He supposedly said. I mean, witnesses are not the most accurate thing, and people could have just been putting things together. But if that is true, if that actually did happen and he was like, I just don't want to do this one, like, leave me out of it, that's weird. Parallel dimensions might not be that far off. Just why Taylor tried to get out of flying remains a mystery, but it has led many to suggest that he may have not been fit for duty. I mean, yeah, it's kind of how that one works. Also unexplained is why none of the members of Flight 19 made the use of the rescue radio frequency or their plane's ZBX receivers, which could have helped lead them towards Navy radio towers on land. You can't see it, but I just folded my hands in the way of, what were these people doing that was very stupid? There were a lot of things that could have helped them in this one, and they just did not do it. They just didn't use them. That's what? None of them used the rescue radio frequency or their ZBX receivers. I don't even know what a ZBX receiver is, but apparently it leads them towards Navy radio towers on land. Why did none of them use that? I feel like that's like training 101. Hey, if things go wrong and you need help, either use the frequency or the ZBX receivers, because it'll take you back to land. My personal, I fly a lot. I don't like fly planes personally, but like I go to England a few times. I've been to England a few times, because my grandparents live over there, and every time we fly, it's always like, I would rather crash on land than in the water, because in the water, that's scary. On the land, if I live, I can find stuff. In the water, if I live, I could be drifting aimlessly for days, and that would be no bueno. Personal opinion, that would be no bueno. Let's keep reading. The pilots were told to switch the devices on, but either they didn't hear the message or didn't acknowledge it. That's kind of freaky-deaky. That's a little freaky-deaky if you ask me. What really happened to Flight 19? The most likely scenario is the planes eventually ran out of gas and ditched in the ocean somewhere off the coast of Florida, leaving any survivors at the mercy of the rough seas and deep water. That's what I was saying. Better to crash on land than in the water. That's what I was saying. In 1991, a group of treasure hunters seemed to have finally solved the puzzle when they stumbled upon the watery graves of 5 World War II-era Avengers near Fort Lauderdale. Unfortunately, it was later found that the hulks belonged... Hulks. Whoever wrote this made a pun. Belonged to a different group of Navy planes whose serial numbers didn't match those of the fabled Lost Patrol. If it was later found that it wasn't actually them, why mention it? Interesting choice of additive details. Many believe that the wrecks of Flight 19 and its doomed rescue plane may still lurk somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle, but while the search continues to this day, no definitive signs of the 6 aircraft or their 27 crewmen have ever been found. Ooh, spooky. Sorry, I don't take things very seriously. Actually, you know what would be super fun is if I'm gonna scroll back up for the people who are on my YouTube. crew of Flight 19. So, you know what I think would be really fun? Is if, like, I went to some of these, because I want to do a series where it's, like, I read through mysterious disappearances of, like, planes, because, like, I've always been interested in the Bermuda Triangle. I think that would be cool. Malaysia Airlines of Flight 370. That's a really good question, but I'm gonna cover that in a different video, so I'm gonna refrain from answering for now. I really do want to, like, start this as a series, because, BuzzFeed Unsolved, Sam and Colby, like, that kind of thing has always really interested me, and I actually, because I don't really believe in the supernatural, I want to do a series where it's, like, I go to all of these supernatural places, and, like, maybe I'll bring a couple people along, maybe I won't, because I'll get freaked out more if I'm by myself. I just want to go to, like, these places of, like, disappearance sites or anything like that. You aren't screen sharing. No, don't. No, I know I'm not screen sharing. I'm recording on my tablet as well for YouTube, and, just kind of, for the people who are watching this on YouTube and not on my Twitch, they can see it, but the people on Twitch can't. Because, woo, I know how computers work. Not very well. Not very well. I do not know very well how computers work. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out eventually. I also literally have, like, no idea how to edit videos, so, like, I'm just gonna have to, like, roll with it. Okay, but, like, I was with 2 other people, and I was freaking out. That's the thing. Like, I have a couple stories from the cemetery. Like, I was freaking out pretty much the entire time. I was very jumpy, and, like, every little sound I heard, and we were, like, right by a factory too, so there were a lot of noises. Like, every little creak, every little sound, anything. Like, I was constantly looking up and, like, looking at the edge of the woods line with my flashlight, and I was like, yo, I think I heard something. Low-key, yeah, it was just Casper the Friendly Ghost. Imagine that. It was just Casper vibing there. Just being like, what are these college kids doing? I'm gonna mess with them. It was great. I have a lot of stories from that graveyard thing. Oh, oh my god, that reminds me of a thing. So I was visiting one of my uncles, and he is a vicar, which is basically Church of England priest, and he lives, like, right by a church. And we went to this church, and they had, like, just done the retiling on the roof and whatever, and so the industrial-sized trash can was filled with, like, all of the old tiles, like, old tiles from the roof of this church. And I was like, can I have one? I want one. And so I literally took a tile, because I keep souvenirs for things. Who is texting me? But yeah, no, I'm just weird like that. I take souvenirs from everything, so y'all best believe I'd be taking some, like, haunted, cursed objects back with me. That would be fun. That would be really fun. What if my channel just, like, turned into a mismatch Mod Podge of, like, Markiplier, BuzzFeed Unsolved, Sam and Colby, like, everything like that. That would be something. That would be something, wouldn't it? Oh, okay, I am gonna get... Please don't take my liver as a souvenir. Don't worry. Don't worry, internal organs are safe. Internal organs are safe. I don't know how allowed I am to say that, but I don't know. It's on the internet now. Can't take it back. I'm so worried that if I do end up, like, talking for a living, like, if this actually does work out, I'm so worried that I'm gonna end up saying something stupid. Because, like, my teacher, one of my professors at the beginning of the semester literally said, when you talk for a living, sometimes you say some stupid stuff, and I was like, oh no, don't even put that in my brain, don't even start, don't put that in my head. But yeah, no, oh, okay, one more story, and then I'm gonna sign off for the day, because I'm really tired. I stayed up till 5 in the morning last night. What I stayed up till 5 in the morning doing is I was hanging out with a couple friends, and in our dorm, there's like the boys' side and the girls' side, and I live on the girls' side. And I was hanging out with a couple of people, and we were like, oh my god, we have rooms on like all of the floors that have a single table and a single chair in them. What if we put chairs in the elevator? And I was like, that is a fantastic idea. We should absolutely do that, but we're not doing it on the girls' side because I kind of like living here. And it's not illegal or anything. Like, it's not illegal to move some chairs on an elevator. It's just kind of stupid. And, like, a little bit annoying for the person who has to move them back. So what do? We go over to the boys' side. We put 3 chairs in the elevator, because there were 3 of us there. We also take a hand sanitizer thing, put that in the elevator, too. And we just have a little conference room in there, and we just spend, like, the next half hour going from the basement to the 8th floor, just back and forth, and seeing who could leave the highest, like, shoe print on the door, because that's just kind of a competition going on that side of the dorm, I guess. I don't know why I'm like this. I have no idea why I'm like this. I was just like, yeah, let's put chairs in an elevator. Nothing can go wrong. Nothing can possibly go wrong. And then today I was like checking a couple people's stories. I was just like clicking through on Snapchat. And wouldn't you know it, imagine having a peaceful university. I could never. There's too much weird stuff going on all the time. We get on like the roof of places. We put chairs in the elevator. There's a ton of graveyards nearby. There's a giant hill that everyone sleds down in the winter. Like, I saw some pictures from it, and there was probably about half of the people on campus, which would be about 20,000 people. Probably not that many people, but there were definitely a few hundred people on that hill. And on someone's story, they said, if you got hit on the hill last night, that's just natural selection. Don't even trip, dog. And I was like, what happened on the hill last night? What did you do? What happened? Whose kneecaps were you revoking? I swear on my life, I need to do a compilation of, like, weird things I say. I have an entire list. I do. I have a list. You know what? Good question. That is a great question. But no, I am in fact in Indiana, for better or for worse. Do you get snow in Florida? How much, do you get a lot of snow in Florida? Because I feel like it snows everywhere. My day was pretty good. I actually have a snow day today, so I didn't have to go to my lab. So I am vibing currently. It doesn't snow there. Okay, we currently have, like, hold on, let me go look in the window. Literally gets out of my chair to look in the window. Hold on, wait. Yeah, no, we got like at least 6 inches of snow on the ground. I'm back. Could you hear me walk across the room? What if I just did an entire video where I was, like, shouting across my room? That reminds me of that one thing where it's like, if anyone's ever watched the Dream SMP who is watching this. Oh, you have a lab tomorrow? Nice. Cool. If anyone's ever... Oh, no, where did my pocket fork go? Oh, I switched pockets. I have two fun things in my pockets at all times. One is a pocket fork. Ever since I watched this one scene on, like, the Dream SMP where Tommy was talking to Drista, and you could just hear Dream on the other side of the room, or Tommy was talking to Drista, and he was like, how vulnerable are your brother's eyes right now? Because he was trying to get to OP mode, or creative mode, I guess. And he was like, do you have a knife? And Drista was like, no, but I have a fork. And he's like, okay, go stab Dream with it. And so you just hear across the room, I'm just gonna reenact it really quick. You just hear across the room, you just hear Dream go, why are you holding a fork like you're gonna stab me? Like, you just hear that in the background, and there's no context. Like, you can't see what's going on. That guy doesn't use a face cam. You just hear that sentence, and that's it. And the first time I heard that, I almost fell out of my chair laughing. Yes, precisely. My roommate is a celery head who named Kevin and armed with a spork. Imagine. Yes, that's precisely what's happening. Another fun thing that I have in my pocket is because I've been seeing a lot of my old ROTC friends recently, and so, I don't have a kettle with me here, so the only place I can get boiling water to make tea is in the dining courts. So sometimes in class, I'll just be sitting next to one of these ROTC people, so like, America, America people, and I'll just slowly reach into my pocket and they'll look at me like, what are you about to do now? So I'll reach into my pocket, and then I'll slowly pull out an entire Ziploc bag of like 11 tea bags in there, and I'll be like, hey, I think I might be British. The first time I did that, it was actually to who I decided to call Abby on here. The first time I did that to Abby. She almost fell out of her chair laughing. Yeah. No, yeah, No, oh my god. I have so many stories that would definitely get my ass thrown in an asylum. No, my god, it's crazy. It's crazy. I am definitely an interesting human. And by an interesting human, I mean I keep bags of tea in my pocket. I don't know. I don't know what that says about me. You know what? That's a really good question, and you're literally asking me to choose between the Midwest and England. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do try to be entertaining. I actually, I was sitting by, I'm such an awkward person that it's like, even if I walk to a dining court with a group of people, I will usually end up sitting by myself because I feel like I invited myself. And, a couple times I did this, and someone was like, no, someone walked over and found me, and they were like, no, you should come sit with us, because, like, you're entertaining, you have entertainment value, come sit with us, and I was like, okay! I was like a puppy. I was literally like a puppy in a box. That's honestly what I am in most friend groups. I'm just like the puppy in the box that you find on the side of the road that you're just kind of like, we're friends now. You're my friend now. We're having soft tacos later. Like, that's me. I am that cat in that meme. That's me. Thank you so much for saying that. I really try to make history things fun because I think it's important to talk about history, and I do kind of want to delve into a lot more of like the darker history things. Because also, like, morbid curiosity is very much a part of humanity. And my idea of fun on a vacation is my family went to Italy one time. We were going for a cruise. So we went to Italy, and one of the things I found, it was something called The Secrets of Venice. What was it? It was literally about the history of torture in Italy. What did I say in my little kid brain? Yeah, that's a great excursion for a vacation. Let's learn about torture. Thank you. That actually means a lot to me to hear. I hope the rest of the internet finds me as entertaining as I think I am. Cool. Before I start rambling on and getting all sentimental, I am gonna probably sign off for the day. I'm gonna find a few more stories and like see what's going on there. Probably gonna start the Monkey King story, or the myth of the Monkey King, because that is 100% hands down like my favorite myth I have ever heard, because I love trickster gods. I would be like lore, just lore. That's all I'm gonna say for now. Either way, I love trickster gods. I'm really excited to like cover the story of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. So yeah, I'm gonna sign off for now before I start, talking too much about things and making this drag on forever and a half. So thank you so much for joining me. Yes, thank you. It is very cold outside, and I still choose to walk around in a crop top because I think I have a problem. Yeah, everyone watching, have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful week. I will absolutely send a picture of Kevin. He's getting a little old, but I'll send a picture of Kevin. To everyone watching, if you haven't already, you should totally hit the follow button on my Twitch. You should definitely hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. join the Discord if you just want somewhere to talk, somewhere to hang out, you know, it's a vibe, it's just a place, it's the Rainy Day Cafe, it's a vibe. Look forward to seeing you all in my next video, and I'm really excited to cover more historical events and myths and all of these things I want to do that are going to get into motion. I'm super excited. So thank you so much for joining me on today's adventure. It really means a lot to have everyone here. If you liked it, click that follow, click that subscribe, click that like depending on what you're on, and I will see you in my next video. Void, signing off.